When you think about the war on terror, we tend to think about Afghanistan or Iraq or Gaza, but the war on terror is happening right now on US campuses. Because when you have pro-terror organizations on US campuses, then you have terror on US campuses.
Where are you reporting in from? You're a professor?
I am a professor at Columbia Business School, but right now I'm reporting from my home. I haven't been in my office for 2 weeks because I'm afraid to go into my office. My direct colleagues are amazing. Columbia Business School has been amazing. The dean has been amazing, but the administration, the university, is just unwilling to protect me and my fellow colleagues and our students. And I just don't feel comfortable. My parents have begged me not to go into work, so I've been in hiding for 2 weeks.
What do you
now.
mean by that? What do you mean by being afraid to go on campus? Why are you afraid? What is happening on campus that is so scary for you as a faculty member to show up?
When I know that there are student organizations that are celebrating rape and the murdering of babies and the kidnapping of great grandmothers, and not only are they're given the opportunity to do so, but they're encouraged by the administration, then that's scary. When I know that there are student organizations on campus that see me as a legitimate target, see my wife as a legitimate target, see my 7-year-old son and my 2-year-old daughter as the legitimate target of resistance, but they basically say they're not willing to draw the line between what's right and what's wrong, then how can I feel safe?
I know that you've been reacting to a letter that came out of the administration. Can you just tell me about that letter and what do you think it's signaling to Jews on Columbia campus?
For the past 11 days, we've been waiting to hear anything from the university. And we haven't heard anything until last night when the president of Columbia University sent a message to all the community that's basically saying, look, we understand that there's pain and suffering in both sides. She will not name the Hamas and internationally recognized terror organizations for what it is. She wouldn't even use the word Hamas. She will not condemn the pro-terror organizations on campus. And she's creating this false equivalency. And I want to say one thing. I'd hate to correct you, but this is not about Jewish students and parents of Jewish students. This is about every person that attends Columbia and every parent who has a kid at Columbia. When you know that you're sending tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay for the salary of the president and the administration that are allowing pro-terror organizations to operate on campus, this should shake you to the core. And it doesn't matter if this was the KKK, a terror organization, you would be shaken to the core, as you're supposed to be, right? If this was ISIS, you would be shaken to the core. Well, I'm here to tell you, this is ISIS. Hamas is ISIS. And yet the president of the university, and not just Columbia, all around the country, they are allowing these pro-terror organizations to march on campus, to rally, to celebrate the rape of young teenagers in a music festival. Young teenagers who are the same age as the students celebrating it. Now, I want to say, I love my students. I don't want this to be seen as me attacking students. I am not attacking students. It's about the student organizations that have been taken over by groups of extremists, pro-terror extremists, all over campuses, all over the United States. And I'm opposing them, and I'm opposing the administrations that are allowing them to operate. Just to give you context, last week in a pro-terror rally that they held on Columbia campus, they marched onto the building of the Center for Jewish Life on Columbia, and they forced that center to go into lockdown. A building in the University of Columbia, in the city of New York, was forced to go into lockdown because the administration does not have the moral courage to say, no, we will not allow pro-terror organizations. I'm just a vessel saying what hundreds of people have been messaging me. They're scared. They're worried. They're worried for their children's lives. They're worried about their children's safety. I got a message today from a student who left Yale. She dropped out early this week because she said she doesn't feel safe at Yale and she doesn't know when she'll ever feel safe again. How is this an institution of higher education if you cannot protect the most vulnerable students, the ones that are opposing terror?
What do you think the administrators of these universities should be doing right now?
They have to do two things. The number one thing they have to do is right now send a letter to all the community saying that they condemn terror, condemn the Hamas, condemn ISIS, and condemn the Hezbollah, and condemn every student organization that supports these terrorists. That's the first thing, and not to wait till tomorrow till they have hundreds of lawyers vetting their messages. This is not about saying the right words. This is about taking a moral stance. So that's the first thing they should do. And the second thing they should do is that they should right now ban any pro-terror student organization from campus. Not just those that are protesting, that are now supporting the terror organizations that are operating in Gaza or in Lebanon, but also every terror organization. It doesn't matter. If you are terrorizing African Americans, you should not be able to operate on campuses. If you are terrorizing trans individuals, if you're terrorizing LGBTQ, if you're terrorizing Asians, you should not be able to operate on campus. It's your freedom in this country, an amazing country. It's your freedom to believe what you want and use your own social media to say whatever vile things you want to say. But you should not allow to organize and march on campuses, no matter what, because this is terror, and terror is terror.
You know, many have been saying that this is really justified resistance. And by not allowing pro-Hamas protests on campus, you're really telling the pro-Palestinian community that they are not allowed to express their frustration and their anger. What is your answer to that?
It's categorically false. I see myself, and I've always introduced myself as pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian. You can be pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian and stand strong in the face of terror and say no to terror. There are some lines that shall never be crossed. Crimes against humanity they're never justified. For no reason. Rape is never justified. And I want to tell you this, and I want everyone to hear this because this is extremely important. I am in full support of every student organization around the country that is now sending aid to Palestinians, that is supporting Palestinians, but at the same time condemning the Hamas for what it is, a vile, internationally recognized terror organization. You can be pro-Palestine, you can help your Palestinian friends and brothers and sisters, and I think not only that you can, but you should help them. My wife and I were crying our eyes out yesterday, seeing of all the innocent lives that are being amassed on both sides. And yet we're able to say no to terror. 99% of Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank and in Lebanon are good, decent people that would never imagine of raping someone just to make a point. They would never, because they have daughters of their own. 99% of them. But yet they are controlled by extremists, terrorist extremists, that are getting their full support from student organizations all around this country. I am heartbroken. It just breaks my heart.
You know, Professor, you've been a teacher for several years now at Columbia, and so I want to ask you an honest question, and that is this a new thing? Is the hostility on campus towards Israel something new that you've been noticing?
Once rape is used as a justified and legitimate act of resistance, once babies are executed in their cribs, once they shot poodles, family pets, once that line was crossed, I can no longer accept that. That's the point where you become a terrorist organization. And if you support that, you are pro-terror organizations. So there might have been this sentiment throughout history in campuses. I do not know. Maybe Maybe I was oblivious to it. Maybe I did not want to believe that it's true. And that I have myself to blame. But they've always, they were always ashamed to say these things. And now they are emboldened by the silence of the administrations. And they are saying the silence parts out loud. They are calling for the eradication of every Jew and Israeli. They are calling to kill Jews and Israelis worldwide. Last week on Friday, there was a national day of resistance. And in this National Day of Resistance, they called every person who supports them to confront Jews everywhere in the world. My 2-year-old daughter goes to a daycare in Manhattan. Last Friday, she and all of her classmates could not go to the playground. They did not leave the facilities last Friday. They couldn't go and play. These 2-year-old toddlers, not in Tel Aviv, not in Haifa, not in Jerusalem, not in Gaza, in New York City, they were not able to go and play in the playground because the teachers were afraid for their Jewish and Israeli kids.
I think there are many American parents that are asking themselves right now, how did we get here? This did not happen overnight. I want to show you this book that I actually picked up from Princeton University, but I know it's also at Barnard College. It's just not that far from you. And the author is Jasbir Puar. I hope I'm not misreading her name. This is part of a gender studies book, and you should really look it up. And I encourage every professor that is representing America's colleges right now to go and read what's in this book and what's in this gender studies, because 90% of it is blood libels against Israel and Jews. And this is actually part of the studies that are being taught in our schools right now. I mean, there's an entire chapter that talks about organ harvesting done by Israelis on Palestinians. And so, you know, when I confront you with the question of, is this a new thing? And are we surprised that it has come to this moment? To be honest with you, I am not surprised. I am horrified. I'm enraged. I'm upset, but I'm not surprised. And I think that things are only going to get worse if professors continue to say, well, my discipline is to teach business. And so therefore, I'm going to stick my head in the sand and worry about my career. At what point do we get more professors like you who are enraged enough, worried enough about their children, their students, and about America as a whole, so we stop this evil from growing exponentially? You know, I commend you for speaking out. And I asked you this question. What is your message to parents here in America who say that the problem in the Middle East is so far away? Why do we even have to engage in this? Why do we even have to converse about this? It's been all consuming for the last couple of weeks. Why is this an issue for Americans to contemplate and react to?
I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I want to appeal directly to every parent in America. And it doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative. It does not matter if you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim. If you're a parent, I want to say this thing. From one dad to another dad, from one dad to all the strong, amazing moms out there. I would do anything possible, kids. Right now, there are pro-terror organizations on campuses. Will you put your life down to protect your kid? I love Columbia University. My wife is an alum of Columbia University. Her grandfather was a professor of Jewish studies in the 1970s, a third professor of Jewish studies at Columbia University. It's my home. It's not just my office. It's not just my job. It's my home. I love my colleagues. When I go there, I feel at home. And my home is under attack. And it's under attack by pro-terror organizations. Now, when you think about the war on terror, we tend to think about Afghanistan or Iraq or Gaza. But the war on terror is happening right now on US campuses. Because when you have pro-terror organizations on US campuses, then you have terror on US campuses. This is bigger than me. I can speak up. I'm not afraid to speak up, but I need you all. I need all the parents out there to speak up. Now is not the time to keep scrolling on your social media. Now is not the time to say yes, but now is the time to say I am willing to do everything to keep my son, my daughter, my non-binary child, whoever it is, the person that you love the most in the world. Now is the time to keep them safe. You know, the one thing that I've been thinking about, what I feel now is the same thing, the same sentiment that I felt the first time my firstborn child scraped his knee in the playground. That I rushed to him, I saw him crying, and all I wanted to do is just hug him, this immense bear hug, and not let it go because I wanted everything to be good and I wanted him to feel safe in the world. And this is what's happening on US campuses. I feel the pain of all our amazing students. They are afraid, they are scared, and they are looking to their parents and asking them, please help me. Please make sure that there are no pro-terror organizations on my campus. That's all I can tell the parents.
Professor, I know that you never thought that you would have to be brave stepping into campus and doing the type of advocacy that you're doing. But, you know, we have a real bravery deficit in the West right now. And I think this lesson that you're teaching to the entire world to speak out and speak for true justice is courageous. And I commend you and I thank you for that. And I hope to see more professors out there like you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.